Hello, those of you that have logged in already, lovely to see you. Well, just as usual, we'll just give a few minutes for everyone to log in. So make yourselves comfortable and we'll start very soon. Lovely. We'll just give about 30 more seconds and then we'll dive into it. Okay, thank you all for coming along. My name is Jess Barwood. I'm an account manager here at AutogenAI, and I'm joined by my lovely colleague, Áine McKay, our trailblazing head of product, who's come all the way from the UK. She's dialing in from Melbourne. Lovely to see you, Áine.
Hi,
we are so grateful. Oh, good. We are so grateful. It is actually an incredible turnout today. This is our first webinar in the Australian region. So yes, very grateful for the time that you've taken out of your busy schedules to be here. This afternoon, I'm coming to you from Gadigal land, and I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and pay respects to their elders past, present and emerging. It's great to see so many people eager to learn more about why this incredibly powerful technology of generative AI is driving an imperative for us all to upskill in order to remain competitive and attractive to our current and future employers. Our software, AutogenAI, is purchased by organisations that are committed to revolutionise their bidding capability and win more business through giving their teams and bid writers specifically the tools to thrive at what they do best. Here at AutogenAI, it is our vision that no bid, tender or proposal is submitted without the support of our game-changing solution. Just like we can't imagine creating a financial model without Excel, it's becoming clear that solutions like ours is the new norm for the bidding profession. For today, we will be starting with an interview with the lovely Áine to get the latest insights on generative AI and the opportunities it presents for the bid writing profession as a whole. Following that, I'll jump into our system for a demonstration so you can see firsthand what the future of bid writing with generative AI can look like. We will all have a chance at the end to ask Áine anything with a live Q&A as well. So feel free as we go to add your questions in the Q&A section below. Nothing sacred, so please don't hold back. So let's dive in. Thanks for being here, Áine.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be back in Australia.
That's all good. So tell us a little bit about how you've come to know so much about generative AI and why have you chosen to dedicate your career to this revolutionary technology?
Yeah, so I've spent the last decade working in product and software development in New Zealand, here in Australia, and then also in the UK. And it was actually here in Melbourne that I got exposed to two really important things that has set me on the path that I'm on today. So I started working in a brilliant agency based in Richmond, and they specialised in building software and creative solutions for local and national clients like the likes of Dairy Australia, Maxibon, Victoria Police. And it was in that role that I actually got exposed to bid writing and more so bid management and coordination. And I really experienced the pain of trying to find out the right information, past experience, trying to source relevant information and evidence, research, all of these things that are needed to win bids. And while it was really rewarding winning the bids, I certainly felt the pain of the all-nighters and the painful process that you had to go through. And it was that agency that actually pivoted, and they pivoted when conversational and voice technology came into play with the likes of Amazon Alexa and Google Home, and it became the first conversational AI and voice agency in Australia. That agency is called Versa. And it was during this time that I got to work directly with clients to help them learn about the power of conversational intelligence And I really began to understand how linguistic engineering could be used to solve real problems and complex user problems. And then I moved back to London, or I moved back to the UK, and I built up my career helping organizations apply design and product thinking practices. And this was really to help them focus on the right problems to solve for their users versus coming up with solutions that they thought solved their problems. And it was here that I was working with them to form the right teams to help them build the right software at a rapid pace while still retaining quality and scalability. So that then progressed, and I actually bumped into our CEO, Sean, when we were making coffee in a shared office space. And he was telling me what he was doing with generative AI. And I immediately understood the use case. I immediately understood the benefits of what he was doing. And then fast forward a few months, I started working at AutogenAI, and the rest was history.
That's amazing. So with that bid writing background, you obviously understand all of the pain points. So I'm going to hit the nail on the head, address the elephant in the room. Is generative AI going to replace bid writers?
I think the short answer to that is no. We as humans are brilliant at adapting and evolving. We can really see that through any technological revolution. So, take the internet, for example, that brought us Microsoft and then Excel. And that led to the reduction of the need for roles such as bookkeepers, accounting clerks. But what that did was it was more than offset by the creation of new and adjacent jobs such as accountants, financial analysts, as well as the advancements of things in risk management and jobs like actuary. And it's an innate human quality to evolve. We want to work, we want to be busy, and we also want to contribute to society. We also really want to solve exciting problems. So AI is no different to that. And what we want to do is now find new problems for us to solve. And this is just a really great way for us to keep moving in the right direction. I think a great example of the impact of AI on jobs is seen in the recent study of radiologists. So back in 2016, Geoffrey Hinton of DeepMind predicted that within 5 years, AI would outperform human radiologists. And he was off by about a year, because by 2020, AI was already outperforming human radiologists in terms of diagnosis. But this outperformance didn't make radiologists obsolete. Instead, it pushed them up the cognitive hierarchy. Rather than spending their time diagnosing, radiologists began focusing on the treatment plans and what diagnosis meant for their patients. So it's really clear that the only radiologists at risk here were the ones that weren't utilizing AI. And AI didn't eliminate the jobs, it actually changed the nature of their work. And by 2023 and into this year, the data is showing that the number of radiology jobs posting and the average salary of radiologists has increased exponentially. And it's now one of the highest paying jobs in the US. And the same is exactly true for bid writing. So AI will give you the ability to work more quickly, more efficiently, and give you the superpower to focus on the hard thinking work and the strategic work. So it's not your job that will be replaced, but it will be the people that will be using AI that will replace you.
Wow, that's fascinating. Thank you so much. So why should the industry as a whole be getting excited?
Yeah, I think anyone that has worked in bid writing has lived and breathed those challenges every day when it comes to reading and understanding lots of bid documentation, or even finding information that you know exists, but you're not really sure where to look for it or who to ask. Then on top of that, you need to write the compelling and competitive responses that clearly articulate that you should be awarded the job in often these very high pressured environments. And AI starts to introduce the ability for computers to read and write. And this is brand new. This has never happened before. And this is perfect for bid writing. So this means that you can have software that reads documentation for you, provides you all of the essential information within minutes. You don't have to read all of the lengthy documentation, lengthy company documents or white papers or research. All of the key information can be retrieved at the touch of a button. And I think the other really exciting advancement is that AI can plug a gap where you need subject matter expertise and eliminate the need for always needing to just consult a human expert that's either too busy or isn't available. Instead of you spending the time trying to figure out the answer only for it to be corrected at the review stage, and maybe that happens, the night before or a few nights before, AI can actually provide you with these accurate answers based on your corpus of knowledge. And this is done by semantically searching for facts and case studies to support your argument. And then this allows you to spend more time finessing your responses and apply your winning strategy to put you in a winning position. I think just with working in with large language models this last year, so they also introduced the opportunity to bring in new and exciting cool features. So say, for example, in bid writing, you've got a 2,000 words you've written, but you need to reduce that down to 1,000 words. And it's often much harder to reduce than it is to add. And we've been able to add in this exciting feature where you can cut words and reduce word count and character count just at the click of a button. And this is like one of our most beloved actions on the product itself. So we know firsthand that this can really transform our clients' processes, and it starts to introduce the ability for bid writers to win more work.
Absolutely. I think we'd be hard pressed not to find a bid writer that hasn't had very many sleepless nights. So hopefully this sort of technology will eradicate that as a standard in the industry as well. So could you tell us a bit about what the benefits of upskilling with generative AI are for bid writers?
Yeah, I mean, the benefit right now is not getting left behind. This is moving at such a rapid pace. OpenAI launched ChatGPT, and it's been the fastest adopted software ever. 5 days to get to 1 million users. So for context, it took around 2.5 months for Instagram to reach that number, and it took Twitter 2 years to reach 1 million users. And we can already see it's being incorporated into these critical domains, so things like education, healthcare, and law. There's a case study where a Colombian judge used ChatGPT when deciding whether an autistic child insurance should be covered by, all the costs should be covered by medical treatment. And what this highlights is that it's reached the masses and everyone's starting to use it. And if you don't upskill now, what this will mean is that people will start to outcompete you in your industry. And if you as an organization don't have the right tools in place, you won't attract the best talent. And we all know that good people expect the best tools and the best environments for them to thrive in.
Definitely. So if I'm a bid writer who loves generative AI, but my employer hasn't yet updated their tech stack, what should I be mindful of when I'm selecting a generalist kind of open market generative AI solution? Surely they're all the same, aren't they?
Yeah, so I mean, we get asked this a lot, and there's really a couple of things to think about when it comes to generalist open source tools versus a proprietary one like Autogen. If you're taking something like ChatGPT, for example, it's been great because it's exposed the power of large language models to the general public, but it is a free tool and it's free for a reason. So it's using your data to train and improve its models. So when it comes to bid writing, where there's lots of sensitive and secure data, generalist tools are not built to protect your valuable intel. We would never recommend that you input anything into these publicly available large language models that has any sensitivity around it. And I guess the other thing is, just in terms of understanding large language models, they're built to understand the complexity of language by predicting the next word based on the context that it has. And this is what makes them excellent. But it also then introduces the ability for them to hallucinate and provide inaccurate and untrue information that is often very compelling. And you can see this with the recent example of a large language model predicted the Super Bowl had been won by the 49ers before the game had even taken place. And anyone that watched that game will know that the Kansas Chiefs actually won that game. So when it comes to bid writing, you just need to be really careful with some of these tools. So for example, if you're asked about health and safety procedures on construction, you don't want to fabricate this answer. Instead, you want to retrieve information from your health and safety policy or your best practices from your credible sources, and then use a large language model to leverage these facts to build a compelling and fact-based answer. and then also crucially show that this information, where this information originated from, which is why using ChatGPT or similar is not really recommended. Instead, use software that has been built with the right methods in place to retrieve these facts. And we do that by using a thing called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. And this means that we can keep your data private and secure and in a highly secure environment.
Thank you so much. So just before we move on to the demo, what are you seeing that's coming up next for this technology in its evolution?
Yeah, there's a number of advancements. I think some general advancements in generative AI is a multimodal approach, so text to speech, speech in, speech out, which we're currently looking at. And obviously models themselves will only get better, and we've seen that over the course of the last year, and they'll get much better understanding human language, even more so than what they do today. But I think what's important is even without these environments, there's so much more that we can focus on around linguistic engineering and how we use these practices to solve problems across the end-to-end bid writing journey. So how can we help you get smarter about what you bid for and how you bid for it? How we help you create better structure hierarchy in your corpus of knowledge. And we do a good job of that already with the large language models that we have, but as large language models progress and the advancement of this technology, everything will become much more relevant to you as an individual and also to your job.
Amazing. Thanks so much for that, Áine. So what we're going to do now is have a look at the AutogenAI software that we sell into enterprise or organizations that are investing in this new technology to enable their teams. So hopefully this gives you a great idea of what solutions are out there for your employers or people contracting you for business as a bid writer have available. So I'll start with a bit of a helicopter tour through the solution. As you can see here, we've got our system. It is comprising a few sections or modules, if you like. Starting on the left here with extract. Extract is an area where we can quickly analyze very complex bid documentation at the click of a button as well to inform our bid analysis at the beginning of the process, but also help with briefing our teams on the requirements of the buyer, be that the government or corporate sector. The Ideator, which we're going to start with as a more deeper dive, is a brainstorming tool. So it's geared to give us ideas or strategies based on our corpus knowledge within the organisation, but also access ideas from the internet as well that can start to formulate structure of our bid, so it can inform actual responses, get us off the blank page really quickly, but also really equip new people to the organisation or people that don't have the subject matter expertise in this area. So this is a really powerful section of the system. We also have the editor. This is where all the magic happens. This is where the writing happens, editing, reviewing, repurposing, searching for evidence. It's endless, the amount of opportunities that happens in the editor. So we'll go through each of the features in that today as well. And then we've got the inputs, and that's an area that powers some of the features within editor. And then we've got the research assistant, which is essentially a search engine on steroids, because it's not only looking at the internet, but it's also mining through the knowledge base of the organisation to gather answers to questions that you need to progress your either research or writing tasks for specific topics or areas, and it will give you a succinct response from which you can build responses. Now, on the right-hand side over here, we've got the brains of the operation, which is the document library. And the document library drives our brilliant library AI. So this is the area that we would upload files. So document managers upload the files, and that will inform what the system And as Áine said, through the retrieval augmented generation, we'll access the sources and the content within those documents to inform the answers. We also have a library settings feature that then allows the teams using the system to select relevant folders that they want to be using to generate their new content. So it doesn't need to be the entire library all the time. We can really hone in on particular topics using this feature as well. So we'll jump in and have a little bit of a closer dive into the ideator. So as I said, this is an area that we would likely come at the beginning of our storyboarding process in the bid writing, or we have a new writer that is trying to get off the blank page for something to present to a subject matter expert who is very time poor, and they just want to get a bit of a review on a draft. Now, I'm just going to paste a question in here. So the question will go into the product. Now, the idea is that we have a particular topic for which we are wanting to generate some strategies to get our juices flowing, so to speak. It will look for ideas based on our 3 AIs, which are powered through the system. The library AI, which I mentioned. So what the system is doing now is it's using the question that I've taken and it's semantically searching throughout our document repositories and also the internet as we speak, the live internet, to find relevant content that it can reference in order to generate an idea or a strategy that already exists within those documentation or those website resources. It also taps into creative AI, which is the purest kind of direct connection to a large language model. So it uses the 7 billion words that it's trained on from the internet. For those of you that are familiar with the large language models, that is literally the kind of unfiltered. So it will give you some really plausible ideas, but it's not referenceable. So this is the area of the system that will harness the power of those large language models, but will generally proceed with caution with bid responses because we'll need to validate the citability or the referenceability of them. So in order to manage the whole referenceability element of the writing that we do in bids, we have the ability to click open the bid document or the reference that the system has found. So there's hyperlinks throughout the product, which will show the resource, and it will also allow us to jump directly to that resource. So whether it's the internet or whether it's a document from the library, we'll always have access. And this is again to build our confidence that the content that's generated is fact. It is accurate and in the context of what we're writing. So it's a really powerful way for us to just make sure that what the system is producing is something that we want to be using. And this kind of emulates the whole purpose of the augmented intelligence design of this system. By no means is the system going to write your bid for you. It's just going to get you to a really high quality draft in a fraction of the time. And it's going to save you the need to be trawling through and reading through all of those documents that no doubt you guys are doing day in, day out at the moment. So what I can do here is select some of the strategies or the ideas that I like, and I could literally just take them as they are and put them on my briefing pack and walk into the storyboarding session and away we go, and then we can flesh out those ideas. Or I could use this for a thought leadership piece as well. Like if I'm writing a blog or something like that, this could start to structure that document. Or I can just write a draft based on these ideas and away I go. So what this will do here is I can structure these ideas in a more logical format or one that resonates with me the most, and then I can move on to use these. So the Generate Paragraphs button will take us over into the editor. and I'll be able to then get a first draft from the features. So I'm just going to select one just to make it nice and easy for us to see in the editor. Now this will generate me a few paragraphs that I can then start to finesse within the product. So the idea is that it will give us some draft content that we will then use some of the features within the product to start to build out. And the design feature here is that the editor becomes our little palette or our canvas. So we're going to be really refining our draft in here, and then we'll export that into our working document, collaborative document with our teams. So here we can see a bit of text that's obviously given us a really great, strong draft to elaborate on that idea that I've selected in here. So I can see some buttons up the top here. These are what we dub the transformation buttons. So they are very expertly and specifically designed to execute linguistic tasks or writing tasks within the application that really hit the nail on the head with those real pain points that bid writers experience as well. So we've got, I'm just going to show you a few of these because I'm just conscious of time today. We'll show you the favorite features that the bid writers are getting the most out of. So we have this expand feature. So the expand feature will enable us to build out on a particular comment or statement that we're making using referenceable information. So say if I wanted to expand on this paragraph here, I could click expand and I could tell it that I want to only have citable references in building this out, and I want about 100 words. So this will enable me to control the length of the content draft that is being generated, but also control the referenceability of that. And if you were watching closely, I also did have the creative AI option in there. So you'll always have that because it is a really great way to get that draft happening, and the referenceability can also be checked through the application as well. So on the right-hand side here, the design is very human-centered and recognises that we all want choice in the outputs that come through the system. So you'll always be given multiple options to have a look at to choose what you prefer. So up here, it'll tell us which options have been derived from which source of AI, sorry. And then again, we have these familiar hyperlinks that will tell us which sources that it's written this content on. So again, building our confidence that it is actually accurate and hitting the mark. So we can easily move this information over to our writing palette or canvas, and then start building this out as well. So we might make a decision that this is a little bit too much information. We don't have enough word counts. So as you can see here, we've got 380 words on this palette. And let's say that our specification is 300 words for this particular piece of writing that I'm doing. I'm going to highlight these words and I'm going to ask it to cut the words down to I'll do 250 words. If I click generate, the system is going to do its absolute best to retain all of the important information, just produce it in a more succinct manner. We have this great show difference feature as well that enables you to, again, make the choice as to what is being kept in and what's being kept out so that it can help inform your decision around which option you want to select. Now, by no means does it mean that you need to stick exactly to the option. Again, the augmenting design is that it expects you to come in as the human and finesse the draft and get it all finished. So you can just edit this like you would any other type of writing in your process. So the word count feature is no doubt something that will resonate with many of you here today. We also have a rephrase option, which does enable us to repurpose boilerplate responses that we use all the time and rinse and repeat, and we might not want to have the same way of saying it again. So let's say I just want to rephrase it. I can see that the system will be able to generate saying it a different way. So here we can see AutogenAI is a crucial tool for businesses in competitive bidding. And then it's rephrased it, AutogenAI is a vital instrument for firms involved. So it is just a new way to freshen up existing content that has been written before. Another really powerful one is the incorporate feature. Naturally, we're bidding to different buyers all the time, but we have template responses about our great capabilities. This will enable us to weave in themes from the buyer so that we can speak directly to them. So if we highlight the text, really simple to learn, and the whole design feature is to make it really intuitive for people so you can onboard really, really fast. So I can choose these configured, totally tailorable inputs, and they are all living over here on our little panel in here. And so we highlight that, and we're going to ask it to incorporate a value of innovation. And what that will do is weave that theme through. So gone are the days that you'll be asked at the 11th hour, you need to emphasize something from the buyer's requirement, or you need to emphasize our values a little bit stronger in these statements. You'll be able to put those in the system and then weave that through at a click of a button. We also have improved grammar. Improved grammar is a really good one when we want to be fixing up drafts that we might have thrown together really quickly, or we've taken during a meeting or what have you, and we're given a really scrappy first draft, as I call them. So we have improved grammar, and what that will do is take our rough version and move it into beautiful writing so that you can take it away and move forward. If you're anything like me, this is an absolute godsend for your quick rushed meeting notes, as well as some ideas you might have woken up with in the middle of the night. We also have a we will statement, which can turn our text into more active terminology. So if our organization is, AutogenAI will achieve a certain or deliver a certain commitment, we will be able to do that. So over in the inputs, we would put our company name, and then we come over here and we will change it to we will. Okay, so here it's moved it from a passive statement that says if you have subject matter experts or others, to AutogenAI will have the ability to automatically proofread and identify potential errors in grammatical sense. So just as a great way to be able to flip text into different contexts. I'll just work through quickly for a couple of other features we've got. You can target the word counts that target the words that are going to be taken out if you are trying to shorten or simplify your wording as well. Now, the last feature I wanted to show you, I'm going to expand this out just to make it a little bit more lengthy so I can demonstrate this feature a bit more. We have a summarize button, which will enable you to write really quickly on particular more lengthy statements. So you might be creating an introduction to a section, or you might be delivering it to a stakeholder that just needs the shortened version of a detailed response. So once that's generated all of this text, we're like, yep, we need to keep that. It's all fabulous. But we do need a shortened, abridged version of it. So if we click this summarize button, it will give us a condensed version and do its best to maintain the meaning in that as well. so we can have an extended and abridged version. Now, that's transformation and editing functions. The way that we can actually validate information from a source perspective and backward research is we have a search button here, which will enable us at the end of the writing process, say if we've dropped our source and we're not sure where it came from, we can backwards research and find that. So if I highlight a section that I've been asked to substantiate, I can click search, and it will then go through and look on the internet and also in our library to find a source that backs up that claim. So here we've got a little link that will take us to the source, and we can also see the file name. So if it's come from our library or if it's come from the internet, we can make decisions on to which reliable source we want to report back. And finally, I just want to show us the research assistant. So my earlier intro, I indicated that we have the search engine on steroids. So this allows us to do some research now on a particular question. Now, for example, if anyone was watching the news last night, there was an announcement around the Australian Defence Force funding. So this is a good way that we can leverage the functionality to give us some information on a particular topic. We can also add a variable if we wanted to ask the question across different settings. But I'll show you an example of how we might build a few questions on here to produce a report. So if we go down, we've got a few questions. This is about the Defence Forces, and then just another question about upskilling. But this will just show us how we can build out some responses to these questions, and then we can use them in a research pack, or we can add them to our library, or we could start writing based on this about 100 words synthesis of the information that it's found through that search. So that's all for the product demo. I will now pass through to the team or for the attendees here that we've got a live QA. So I would just stop my screen share and let's see what we've got through the questions coming through here. Okay. All right. Does the AI system have subject matter expertise by default, or does it need to be taught? Áine, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we build you your very own custom private language engine, and we consider that like part of your proprietary data set as like a memory of the language engine. So what that means is that we're able to build up this subject matter expertise with all of your company's previous bids, tenders, proposals, and we break them up into narrative chunks and then encode them with their own meaning. And this enables us to then find and retrieve everything that you've ever written about a particular topic and kind of like remix it. So this is where like that subject matter expertise comes in. This then helps Autogen ultimately kind of acts as that subject matter expertise. It's not necessarily what we would say it's training, but the more information that you add in, the more information then we can retrieve from your corpus of knowledge. And then we use that along with linguistic engineering to give you the best output possible for the query that you're trying to answer.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay. Got another question. How can systems like this be secure? Doesn't anything you put into LLMs train the models?
Yeah, so we get this a lot, and I think this is a lot to do with how the system itself is built. So as I said before, we build you your own language engine, and what we do with that is that we use RAG, retrieval augmented generation, to retrieve that information. This process doesn't include training a model. We don't send your data to a model provider to train and store your data. Instead, we retrieve your information and have a model process snippets and chunks of your data to form a compelling response. It's much like how a human would do this. So they would retrieve, remix information to answer a question. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. And yeah, I guess on top of that, we also have rigorous security measures in place. So obviously where we host the language engine, we have compliance in place with the likes of ISO 27001, SOC 2, Cyber Essentials, and we're constantly working on many more.
Right. So could the system generate Gantt charts for project programs?
Yeah, I mean, some AI tools are looking into this. Ours currently doesn't offer this, but as large language models evolve, we're always looking at new ways in which we can apply it and how we solve bid writers' problems. We've taken an intentional route to focus on text and focus on linguistic engineering. But it doesn't mean in the future we won't look at things like Gantt chart or image generation and things like that.
Right. We had another question. Is this similar to ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Or how is it different, we should say? Yeah.
The common question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I mean, ChatGPT is a generalist tool. It's been released to the masses, and as we know, it's the fastest adopted software ever being adopted within the matter of 5 days. As I mentioned before, ChatGPT uses your information obviously to train their own models. It's really good to take a Harry Potter chapter and make it sound like it's been written by maybe a leprechaun. That sometimes works. The other thing it's good at is pulling together information that sounds really compelling, but ChatGPT can't be considered trustworthy information. Something like AutogenAI, we've built a system in place for it to be highly sourced, highly evidenced, trustworthy information, and that's the main differentiator for us. So where you can generate text, what Jess, you just took everyone through, is that it's highly sourced from your corpus of knowledge, and that's not what ChatGPT offers.
Right. I think we had some coming through in the chat as well. So could the system generate a list of assumptions, qualifications, or exclusions from the content of the tender response once it is completed?
Yeah, exactly. So our extract tool, I think, Jess, you were just showing that is a great method in terms of being able to interrogate a document, understand it back to front, as well as then understand what some of the exclusion or inclusions could be. And from that, then you can use that in your writing to answer those questions, right through then to where you review the bid and you review it against that information and potentially things like your marking criteria. And what we're aiming to do is then get that into the end-to-end bid writing flow. So from where you prepare, understand what it is that you're writing about, write the bid, and then review the bid based on all of that information that you've gathered up over the course of the bid project itself.
Thank you. Just see if we've got any other questions coming through. Should I be worried about plagiarism?
Yeah, so with AutogenAI, that's not a problem and not something you should be worried about. So what's different about our tool is the sourced information. So everything is built around your language engine, and it's your unique language engine. So it's built with your information in place, and it's your people within your organization that is using the tool. So there's no room really for plagiarism. It's your own information that we're using. We're retrieving that. We're using large language models then to take that information and then create compelling responses. We've put it through plagiarism tools, and we know that it's absolutely fine. It doesn't come up with any type of plagiarism whatsoever. If you do that with ChatGPT or maybe any other kind of AI tool, you will see the comparative difference.
Right. Thank you. Can the system interpret a list of SLAs, for example, or contractual particulars and identify inherent risks?
Yeah, so with our extract tool, what we can do is interrogate a document. So for example, if you inputted a document and it had a list of SLAs, then you could ask it to extract that information and list out what those SLAs are, and then be able to identify what those inherent risks that are associated with it. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Does the system integrate with external programs such as Microsoft 360 or customer relationship management systems?
Yes, so currently we're working on exporting all information out to kind of commonly used tools like Word, PowerPoint, etc. And we also then are working with integrations such as CRM systems as well, and any other integrations that bid writers need. So there's a discovery going on at the minute, just to understand what they are. So even things like communication tools, whiteboarding tools, etc.
Amazing. Are all LLMs the same?
No, so there's multiple providers of LLMs. We use multiple depending on the action or the transformation. So Jess, as you were showing across the product, there's many different actions that sit under the hood. Really depending on the linguistic engineering that's required, we lean on the right large language model for the job.
Amazing. Can the system research information about the customer and incorporate the information into the content response?
Yes, it can. So that's exactly part of the reason why we built the research assistant. So the research assistant allows you to conduct research to include multiple variations, or it could be research about a particular customer before you kick off the bid, or even incorporate research throughout your whole bid writing process. Oh, brilliant, you're going to bring it up.
Yep.
Lovely.
Bring it up. Yeah.
And the idea is that then you can incorporate any of this research into any part of your writing process.
Absolutely. Okay, great. How can systems like these be secure?
Yeah, so we've got rigorous security measures in place, as I mentioned, in terms of even where we host the models. We have compliance measures in place like ISO 27001 and SOC 2 and Cyber Essentials. So we're always working on additional security measures. You also then just how we retrieve your data and how your data is stored within our tool means that it's hyper secure, and there's no other way for anyone to access your data other than you and the people that are within your organization.
Amazing. Okay. Okay. What do you think will happen if companies don't start to use generative AI?
Yeah, I mean, the key thing there is that you really just get left behind. We can see that this is getting adopted at a rapid rate, and we can see the problems that it solves in real time. So if you're not adopting generative AI or AI generally, or even having a look at it at the minute, what that means is that your competitors are going to outcompete you. We already know that it's not AI that will replace you, it's the people that are using AI that will replace you. And on top of that, what it means in terms of talent. So how do you attract the best talent if you're not using the best tools, the best types of software, the best AI? People will get impatient, and obviously we know that the best talent does expect these types of practices and tools in place for them to thrive.
Okay. So in Extract, can we upload more than one document? Just bring it up just so we can see it again.
Yes, so currently you can upload one document and that has no limit. And then what you can do is see all of your history of that document and then upload your next document. We will be introducing the ability to upload multiple very shortly. But yeah, it's quite easy to retrieve the information quite quickly.
Okay. Are there limitations to the amount of documents you can upload into the library?
Short answer is no. If you've got, we've had clients want to put terabytes of data into the system. I mean, there's like some problems associated with that, not necessarily just about our tool, but just about the amount of information. But no, there's no limit at all. It's just however amount of information you want to upload.
Amazing. Can you use this software as a consultant and serve multiple customers with several content libraries?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ways in which you could do this. I mean, the easiest way to get the most out of the tool is if you're controlling your own your own language engine. And we do this through kind of your own organization, your own instance that you can see here. But also there's other ways in which you can organize potentially client libraries where certain people can only access certain documents within your library. And that could be another way that you could solve that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I would like to present a summary of this to my higher ups. Would I be able to share this video after it's done so I can summarize it, or do you have a quick presentation I can show them? Absolutely. We will be circulating the recording from today and sharing our contact details for you to take that next step. Great question. Thank you so much. Alrighty, thank you so much for all of the questions, everyone. We really appreciate the effort that you've taken to be here today. And we really hope that you've learned something new and can see why we are so passionate about hosting this event to share the brilliance of augmented intelligence with you all through our system, AutogenAI. We encourage you to keep learning about how this technology can enable greater efficiency in doing what you do best and take your work to the next level. Also, if you can seek out opportunities to develop the skills in this amazing technology, it will definitely set you up for the future of work and make you more attractive in the market. To learn more, we have a suite of articles available on our website, so AutogenAI.com, and we do encourage you to follow us on LinkedIn for more information. If there are any topics you would like to hear about and you have general questions, we welcome you to email us as well, and we'll be sharing our contact details to you all after today's webinar. We're also scheduling our next webinar in April, so please do stay tuned for that. So on behalf of the team here, thank you so much again for coming, and we really appreciate your time, and all the best for today, and hopefully we'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.